Hello there, Tracy Nutton here. Today I'm going to make this card using a range of Sweet Poppy Stencils products. For the inks I'm going to use Squeeze Lemonade, Faded Jeans and Lumberjack Plaid, and they are all Distress Oxide inks. For the inking on here in black I'm going to use the VersaFine Clair Nocturne. The stencils that I'll be using today are the Ginkgo leaf stencils and the Jasmine stencil, and I've already masked off the area that I'm only going to be using the flower. And then the Sending Birthday Wishes comes from the Sentiment 2 set. So let's move these out of the way and get going. So the card stock that I'm using is a 300 GSM cardstock. It is 14 centimetres by 14 centimetres. So in order to make the banner in the middle, I just popped it onto my mat and it seems to fit. 14 by 14 sits perfectly into here, and I know that this is the middle. So I got a strip of low tack tape and just popped it on and just created a barrier, and it just fits in 3 of my squares. I can measure it for you if you'd like to know how wide my banner is. My banner is about 6 centimetres, just under 6 centimetres wide. But you can choose however wide you want it, because obviously you can see there's lots of space above and below. So if you would like a smaller one, which I've done on a previous card, then you can do that. But I quite like the idea of the chunky one this time. So let's go in without inking. So let's bring over a piece of tissue. I'm just going to move so that I can sit down and be in bit closer to the work. So let's have a look here. So just going to pop this on here for a second. So in order for me to be able to, so I can see this is why I've popped it onto the magnetic sheet. I don't need anything on it yet, but what I need to do is now reverse this, because I need to do this part first. So what I did was just lined up, which is why I've come closer so that I can see the edges. Ooh, it's alive. There we go. Push that down and then do my second one. Make sure that the whole card is covered. Okay, flip it up this way so it's easier if it's on that. And then I'm just going to butt that one up as well. You're not overlapping these ones, you're just butting them up. And then one more down here, making sure that you've got right onto that edge. There we go. Now I can carefully remove my middle layer and save it for later. So let me put it out of the way. So now I can remove this and move it out of the way for a second. Right, where are we? Let's have a look. So just going to ink up my background. I generally start with the lighter colour, getting darker. I'm looking for an intense colour this time, as opposed to last time when I did one before. My first one I did it quite pale. Whenever I do my backgrounds I start off the cardstock and then come back on. And all I'm doing this time around is just plotting out where I'd like the colours to be. So now I'm going to go in with some of the Faded Jeans. I think I'd like some Faded Jeans here. Some here and a little bit on this end. And then I've left some space then for the red. So I'll do some red on this edge, in here, and then a larger patch of red here. And now all I do is try and get those to blend. So I just spend a little bit of time trying to get those colours to overlap and not show where one starts and one finishes. I'll sort that out in a second. It's just gone over, but that's okay. So just taking it further out, and as it goes further out it tends to just fade a little bit more. So that's when they start to mix together and combine. Just softens those edges. If I stand up and just bring this closer to the camera, you can actually see where it's not, it's kind of got the blurred lines. It's a bit messy. Quite like it like that. So now I'm going to add some more to the background. I'm not precious about how perfect it looks, because actually what we're going to do is spritz this. So I'm just going to lift this up, give it a bit of a wipe down. Now I've got a spritzer. I don't mind whether they're big blobs, little blobs. I'm just going to spritz it and then leave it. And whilst that's changing, I'm just going to let it do what it's doing. I'm going to deal with that little corner that it went underneath after. I'm not worried about that now. And in fact, I'll probably end up covering it with a flower anyway, depending on how it works out. So you can see that this lifted a lot now, and then all you do is you just get some paper towel and just give it a blot. Okay. And then I'm going to dry this because obviously I need to work on it. So let's give it a try. Perfect. Okay, let's hang that back up there. So now I'm going to carefully remove the low tack tape and reveal my background. And then I'm going to take my magnetic sheet and Ginkgo leaves stencil. So I'm looking, I think I would like it to go this way. It doesn't matter, those stencils can go either way, which is really good, but I'm thinking that I'm going to plot it across there, I think. Let's just have a little look, see if I can just remove this, just in case I don't want a flower on this corner. I'm just going to remove it. So just taking my time, not rubbing hard. See if I can find my other rubber. There it is. Okay, just take my time. There we go. Gone. Okay, right, let's have a look now. Now I can put things wherever I'd like them. So I'm thinking that I would like this quite a way on. There we go. So let's use some low tack tape to protect our work. So a little bit on here. Now, you have to be mindful that this is going over the top. This is fine, but you'll end up with a line here. So you're working to get rid of that line and this line. And I'll show you how I did that. So this one isn't so bad because we've got a lot of blue here. So I would start with the blue. Put my ink pads back on. So we've got a bit of blue here and a blue there. So let's just take this into here. Obviously you're making this darker because you want it to stand out. So that's not so bad. That's actually got rid of that line straight away. So again, over here we've got some yellow. So to enhance that and make it darker, we bring in the yellow. And then as you can see, this goes down into the red. So let's bring in some darker red. Okay. And then we've got darker red up here. And this goes into yellow. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to pop a little bit of tape over here while I try and build the colours up on here to blend. So I've got red and I've got yellow. So red. Some yellow. Then you can lift it up and almost see that it's not that bad. Okay, I think that will lose that. So let's go in now. So make all of this darker. and then go back over with our yellow here, keeping that nice and yellow. We'll have some blue back in down here. And there's no right or wrong, just however you would like it. Okay. And then I think I need yellow to bring that colour through down here. And then obviously I love the vibrancy of this red, so let's bring some red back in down here. Okay. And then all you're doing is just spending a bit of time just making sure that those colours are blending. And I'm really not precious about my brushes. This will brush off and they'll all become the right colour again anyway. So what I need to do now is I need to remove this stencil. I need to give it a wash, because I then flip it so that it can be used on the top side of our card. So let's remove this. There you can see. Okay, so my stencil is washed, and all I've done is turn my card round and flip my stencil over. So this time we want the illusion that this leaf will stay over the top, but these all need to hide underneath. And I don't want them to overlap. So as you can see, if I bring this across here, these won't leave enough room for the sentiment. So I'm just looking to see where they are. And I'm going to put some tape underneath this so that this will be on top, but these ones will appear to be underneath. So just looking. There we go. And just making sure that you're keeping this right up to that edge. And I'll do another one just in case. Okay. Move it over. There we go. So let's have a look. Where did I have it last time? Ooh, just looking. I think I had it like that last time. So I'm going to go that way this time. Let's be different. Let's be bold and brave and different. Okay, so these ones I don't want on, but this one I do. Sentiments go in there. Hopefully it will fit. So let's have a little look back on to thinking about our borders here. This needs to be built up, so let's put our low tack tape on. So we're looking at reds and yellows to get rid of that line. So let's have a look and see what we've got here. Here's our reds and our yellows. A bit more intense. Just takes a bit of time to just blend it. Again, I'm going to take my rubber, just helps to lose that, and then we build up that colour. Just be careful of that edge. Let me cover that edge over. Nearly. There we go. I bet you loads of you are screaming, no, you've not covered your edges up. It's okay. Don't think there's any harm done, but we'll have a look. Okay, let's intensify this red. This one needs to be blue. Let's do a bit of blue down here. Oh, look at me, I'm having one of those ones. There we go. Blue down here. There we go. That's because I was looking at the card. Donut. Oh, it can't take me anywhere. Okay. It's the good thing when you use primary colours. You can only make another colour. It's all right. Right, let's go in here. Blend that across, I think. There we go. And then we're bringing our blue. And then I think I'm going to bring red down here. That's better. And flow that yellow through up here. There we go. Now I'm just making sure that everywhere's covered and it's blending across. There we go. Okay. Let's stop before I get muddled again. Goodness gracious me. Right, now I'm going to move on and pop my sentiment on. Let's move those out of the way. Let's grab my stamp press and let's bring that in. Okay. Removing. Praying that I didn't make a mess here, but let's have a look and see. Can always tidy it up. Don't worry about it. I think we've got away with it, if I'm honest. Right, let's move this off, and then you'll see that that disappears behind. Flip it back over. Let's move that out of the way. Okay, let's have a look and see what we've got. So, I think I've left enough room for my sentiment. Let's just plump this on for a minute and just have a look and see. Yeah, I think that will do nicely. Thank you very much. Right, I would just like it, I think, a little bit further up, so let's just shimmy this down a smidge. Okay. Right, using, there we go, using our VersaFine Clear Nocturne. I'm just making sure that this is where you can see it. Might need to do 2 rounds of this colour, purely because we're going over the oxides, and sometimes the oxides just absorb it, they just suck it up. Let's have a look. See, it's perfect coverage, it's just the intensity. So let's have a look and see. See, it's much better. Okay, let's take all this off and then we'll just put our flowers on. Well, that was a bit eventful, wasn't it? Wrong ink, wrong brush. Oh, goodness gracious me. Don't ever do what I do. Okay, let's give this a wipe down. So we're going to use our jasmine leaves now. So let's try this. Bring our work back on. So it's up to you where you want your flowers. Every time I've done one of these, I've looked and I'm just thinking, yep, fancy it here, fancy it there. It's your choice. Just remember to cover your work. Don't do a me special. So generally what I did last time was I just thought I'll pop one here, and as I went round you'll see that I'll just slightly turn it just to give it a different look. I don't want to have to go away and wash it each time, so rather than turn it and flip it over, I'm just turning it the angle of the stencil on my work. And I've taken it off so that it opens the picture up and takes it off the page. So let's grab a small brush. Goodness gracious me, what am I doing tonight? There we go. Stick it down. Okay. So just gently, and then swirling motions. Just building that colour up. And because we're going in with black, it will hide any of the overlaps. It will just cover everything. And just nice and gentle. Then just making sure my hand's not dirty. Carefully lifting it up. Have a little look. think about where I might want the next one. So I might want the next one in here again. As you see that I've flipped it around, just twisted it. There we go. Using the same low tack tape, just covering, and in we go again. Just making sure you can see what I'm doing. Apologies. So we're back in again. Gentle circular motions. It will cover the stems and everything because we're using a lovely ink, black ink, building those layers up. And if it still looks grey, it's not dark enough. So you just keep going until I can see there's a line across there, but you just keep carefully building up those layers until you can't see that line anymore, and then you know you've got a really good solid coverage. And you can see I'm not flooding it, I'm just taking my time. There we go. Cool, the wind's coming up out there, I can hear it. Right, carefully lifting. Okay, and spin around again. So this time I might not put a full one, I think I'll put a little one there. Still covering up, and around we go again. I will try and do odd numbers, but if it looks great with even, I'm not precious. But ideally it should be odd numbers in nature. And then this is the last part really to this card. And you can do as many or as few as you would like. I'm just looking, I think I would like a biggish one here, I think. So again, you see I'm twisting it around. And I'm doing some on the banner and then some off. Some on the white areas, some off the card. Again, just stretching the eye out of the artwork. And brushing it in towards the centre. There we go. Carefully being careful because I've got ink on me already. Let's give it a wipe. Wish I was not so messy, that would be really nice, although I really don't try to be. Okay, let's twist it again, and I'm thinking this time it could just do with a little bit of something here. Just being careful, making sure that my work is covered. Now this technique could be done using your oxides, could be done using your distress, probably use your mementos. Give it a go. All the different inks will give you a different finish, obviously, but use whatever you got at home. I'm not sure I would use archival quite so much, so I think it might need a little one over here. Let's have a look. Just going to pop a little one on here, and then I think I'm going to do a final one down there. I'll say that and then I'll find somewhere else that I want another one. Okay, the tiniest of tiniest. I would just be very careful because it becomes more juicy as it goes round, so you've got more chance of it bleeding. Okay, I do think it needs a little tiny one there. Okay, so you've lost count now, don't know how many I did. Okay, let's pop the ink on the lid on the ink even, the ink on the lid. Right, let's lift this. So really lucky enough to have lots of crisp images, which is what I was hoping for. There we go. So let's move this out of the way, and now we can mat and layer our card. So for my card base, she says she's used a 7x7 card blank. My base layer is 14 centimetres by 14 centimetres, and that will be matte and layered onto a layer that is 14.5 by 14.5. Just going to move this and give this a bit of a wipe. As I say, it's a technique that could probably be done using lots of your inks. Give it a go. Let's give it a bit of a... Now, I was using low tack tape, but what I found is sometimes my cards are left for a while. And, well, I say a while, quite a few years. And I've noticed that some of mine have just started becoming a bit loose, so glue is now my sticky of choice. But I will still use if I'm giving it to someone straight away, but if I'm making cards to put away, which I know some of us do. But I mean, we are talking years, 4 or 5 years. So I've probably still got some of my original cards that I first started doing many moons ago. Okay, let's pop this on here. So I'd like quite a thin border, and even though I always cut my borders to about 14.5 to 14.5, and sometimes I want that wide border, and sometimes I feel no, I just want it slightly thinner. So let's just take this down. It's only taking a smidge off, I think. There we go. Oh, just a little fraction more this side, I think. That's better. Okay. It's my finger. Gets everywhere. Grubby. Right. Let's hurry up and do this before I get more ink everywhere. So this goes onto a white layer that measures 16 centimetres by 16 centimetres. Then the final layer that you can see behind is 16.5 by 16.5, and as I said, the actual card base itself is 7 inches by 7 inches. So I hope you've enjoyed my card today. Hope I've made you laugh, and you can see how bad I am sometimes. Right, let's have a look. Super messy. This is why I have all the techniques of how to get out of the mess, because I'm such a messy crafter. But I hope you've enjoyed it today. As I say, you can go in, that's even more dark than the original one. The first one I did was pastel colours. Again, I think it works for all of them. So if you give it a go, just tag me so I can have a little look and see. And you can show me what it looks like if you use your different inks as well. So thank you for joining me today, and enjoy whatever you're up to. Take care. Bye for now.